Get on your fucking knees.
After spending 15 long years in prison, a man named Lucas had finally regains his freedom. Soon after his release, he visits a bar, and following a brief stay with a woman at the bar, he steals a car and sets off on a mission. His first destination is the salon of an old associate, Job, a cross-dressing hairstylist. When Job questions the sudden visit, the man asks for the address of a woman he once partnered with during a diamond heist. Together, they had robbed a dangerous crime boss known as Mr. Rabbit. Although clearly uneasy, Job reluctantly gives up the woman's whereabouts, revealing that she now goes by the name Carrie Hopewell. Armed with this information, the man leaves the salon, but just outside, he is ambushed by Mr. Rabbit's enforcer, a gunman named O. A shootout breaks out. Displaying sharp instincts and combat prowess, the man dodges the gunfire, steals a passing motorcycle, and makes a clean escape, leaving O behind, frustrated and empty-handed. His next stop is the quiet town of Banshee, where he relaxes at a bar owned by Sugar, a former boxer who, like him, has served time, 8 years behind bars. Sugar quickly picks up on the man's past, and the two strike a quick bond over their shared prison time. Their conversation is soon interrupted by the arrival of the real Lucas Hood, the newly appointed sheriff of Banshee, who is due to officially begin his duties the following day. As the three chat, 2 local criminals burst into the bar demanding money from Sugar. Hood remains calm and unimpressed, which irritates the thugs. One of them points a gun at him, but Hood doesn't back down. Instead, he jabs the thug's hand with a fork. The second thug prepares to retaliate, but Hood draws his gun, initiating a standoff. Trying to prevent bloodshed, the ex-convict, our main character, stands up and suggests letting the thugs take the money, promising to reimburse Sugar later. Still fueled by anger, Sheriff Hood shoves him aside, escalating the conflict into a fierce gunfight. The ex-con manages to overpower the thugs and neutralize them, but not before Sheriff Hood is hit by 2 bullets and dies from his injuries. Sugar warns the man to disappear before things get worse, but instead, the man makes a fateful decision. He assumes the identity of the deceased lawman. Together with Sugar, he loads the sheriff's body and the dead thugs into Hood's vehicle and drives to the woods, where they bury the bodies. During the drive, the sheriff's phone rings. The man answers it and speaks with Mayor Dan Kendall, who hasn't met the sheriff in person yet and expects to do so the next day. Taking advantage of this, the man impersonates Hood and sets up a meeting. Despite Sugar's hesitation, the man is resolute in taking on the role of Banshee's new sheriff. The man contacts Job and asks him to hack into the police system to alter law enforcement records. Job successfully replaces the real Lucas Hood's fingerprints and ID photos with those of the man, allowing him to fully assume the sheriff's identity. With nowhere to go, Sugar offers him a room above his bar. The man tracks Carrie down to her home, where he learns that she is now married and has 2 children, Max and Dava. Still deeply in love with her, he hopes to start a new life together. However, Carrie firmly tells him to leave, making it clear that she is happy with her current life and family. It's revealed that during their getaway following the diamond heist, he had deliberately misled the police to protect Carrie, allowing her to escape while he was arrested and sentenced to 15 years in prison. Now that she wants nothing to do with him, he demands his portion of the stolen diamonds. His anger boils over when Carrie confesses that a Serbian man had stolen the diamonds from her. Lucas Hood meets Mayor Dan, who briefs him on the criminal dominance of Proctor, a businessman known for illegal dealings. The previous sheriff had failed to stand up to him, which is why the mayor recruited someone from the outside. Mayor Dan then brings him to the sheriff's department and introduces him to the rest of the team. Brock, one of the deputies, takes the new sheriff around town for orientation. During their patrol, they encounter the Moody brothers harassing Amish locals. Lucas intervenes immediately and takes down the group of thugs single-handedly. As Cole Moody attempts to hit Lucas with a wooden stick, Proctor steps in to defuse the situation. Kai introduces himself and orders the Moody brothers to help the Amish reload the wood they had thrown. As the crowd clears, Kai refers to the Amish elder as father and apologizes for the incident, revealing that he was once part of the Amish community but had been cast out and disowned by his family. Later, furious at Cole for his behavior, Kai summons him to his slaughterhouse. He reveals their familial relationship, though Cole doesn't know the old man is Kai's father, and brutally assaults him, delivering repeated punches that leave Cole with shattered teeth. Meanwhile, Lucas prepares for his swearing-in ceremony. At the same time, Job is ambushed by O, who demands information about Lucas. Job initially resists but eventually plays along, saying he needs to get a file. He enters a different room, finds a secret escape passage, and flees. Before leaving, he activates a pendant that triggers an explosion, destroying the hideout. Back in Banshee, Kai hosts a party and invites several high-profile guests, including Carrie's husband, Gordon Hopewell, the town's district attorney. Carrie is stunned to see Lucas at the event. Away from the crowd, Lucas confronts her and asks her to open the safe containing the diamonds they had stolen. Carrie refuses and threatens to expose him, but Lucas reminds her of the secrets she is hiding from her husband, effectively silencing her. As she walks away, Cole appears with a gun, intending to kill Kai for humiliating him earlier. Before he can act, Lucas shoots Cole in the back, killing him. Meanwhile, it is revealed that O survived the earlier explosion, and Mr. Rabbit instructs him once again to find Lucas. The following day, while Carrie is showing a house as part of her job as a realtor, Lucas finds her and pulls her aside for a private conversation. They share a brief, emotional moment before another agent interrupts. Despite his lingering feelings, Carrie firmly tells Lucas to leave her and the town alone. Carrie then receives a call from Deva's school principal, who informs her that Deva has been skipping school again. Carrie becomes increasingly worried, not knowing where her daughter spends her time. At the same time, Deva is seen riding in a car with her boyfriend Reed and her best friend. Reed drives them to a secluded house in the woods, which turns out to be a drug lab run by Hansen, one of Kai's men. Hansen tries to get close to Deva, but backs off when Reed arrives. He hands Reed some drugs and invites them to a party at an Amish farmhouse. Later that day, Kai meets with Lucas and tries to bribe him, as he had with previous sheriffs, in hopes of buying his loyalty. Lucas, however, refuses the offer, disappointing Kai. That night, while Lucas is outside Sugar's bar, he is approached by Cole's widow, Kate, who slaps him and blames him for her husband's death. The Moody brothers soon surround him, but Kate intervenes and insists her husband deserved what happened. Still angry, the brothers continue to threaten Lucas until Sugar comes out with a gun and diffuses the situation. Before leaving, the Moodys warn Lucas that their fight isn't over. Later that night, Lucas runs into Rebecca, the young Amish woman, and they spend the night together. The following day, an Amish elder visits Lucas and tells him about a rave party that his son mentioned. Before leaving, he introduces Lucas to his daughter, who turns out to be Rebecca. The police prepare to raid the party while Deva and her friend arrive, expecting VIP treatment, with Reed as the DJ. As the police arrive, Lucas enters the party alone, knocks out the guards, and searches for Hansen. Inside, he sees attendees collapsing from seizures due to contaminated drugs. Lucas calls his team while helping Deva, who is distraught after witnessing Reed die. Once the chaos is under control, Lucas pursues Hansen. Kai, furious that a senator's son died due to the drugs, blames Hansen for the mess. As punishment, he cuts off one of Hansen's fingers and tells him he has 60 seconds to run. Hansen tries to escape, but Kai's dog chases him down and kills him. That night, Rebecca meets Lucas again at the bar, and they spend more time together. When Rebecca leaves drunk, she finds Kai, her uncle, waiting for her outside. He urges her to stop her reckless behavior, warning that his own past recklessness destroyed his family ties. Meanwhile, a badly beaten woman emerges from the trailer of Damian Sanchez, a boxer brought to town as part of a deal between Kai and tribal leader Benjamin Longshadow to build a casino. She is rushed to the hospital, where she reveals that Damian assaulted her during a supposedly consensual encounter that turned violent. Lucas, upon hearing this, heads to the exhibition match to arrest Damian. However, Kai and Damian's manager try to prevent the arrest. Lucas refuses to back down. He walks straight into the ring and punches out the referee when he tries to block him, determined to bring justice, no matter the cost. When Lucas orders Damien to surrender, it sparks an intense ring fight between the two men. Lucas delivers a brutal punch to Damien's face, drawing blood. But Damien quickly proves his boxing skills, responding with a flurry of blows, choke holds, and eventually hurling Lucas out of the ring. Refusing to give up, Lucas grabs a champagne bottle and tries to use it to his advantage. Still, Damien remains a fierce opponent and refuses to go down easily. Both men are bloodied and exhausted, but neither is willing to back off. As Damien launches another attack, Lucas grabs his hand and forces his fingers apart until the skin splits. The battle ends with Lucas snapping Damien's arm, knocking him unconscious. Sugar then helps the injured Lucas back to the bar. Soon after, Kai arrives and tries to strike a deal with Lucas, who quickly makes it clear that he knows who Kai truly is and wants nothing to do with him. Lucas tells Kai that while he doesn't necessarily hate him, he isn't afraid of him either. In response, Kai insists that it's Lucas who should be fearful. Meanwhile, Clay Burton, Kai's enforcer, confronts Douglas and demands the money that was given to Damien for the fight. When Douglas refuses to return it, Clay initially stays calm, but later follows him into the vanity van, roughs him up, and retrieves the cash. Later that night, Mr. Rabbit is alone in his room when Carrie unexpectedly bursts in, pointing a gun at him. She forces him to handcuff himself to the bedpost and throws a bag at him. It contains the $10 million in diamonds that she and Lucas had stolen. She offers the jewels in exchange for her freedom, demanding that Rabbit leave her alone. But Rabbit, enraged by the betrayal, isn't ready to forgive or forget. He tells Carrie he still wants Lucas. Carrie asks if he would let her go if she turned Lucas in. Rabbit, smirking, gives her his word. She responds by sedating him with a syringe to ensure he doesn't retaliate. As she collects the diamonds, she kisses him, revealing that Rabbit is actually her father. Carrie then meets Lucas and gives him the diamonds, asking him to leave Banshee. Lucas, however, knocks her down and declares that he's not going anywhere. He tells her to take the diamonds and go home. The next day, Lucas arrives at the police station to find Senator Robert Schumacher waiting in his office. The senator isn't there for sympathy, he demands justice for his son's death. Taking the lead on the investigation, Lucas calls Dava in and shows her a list of local criminals, asking her to identify anyone linked to Hansen, who has gone missing. Dava recognizes Arno Weber as an associate, leading Lucas and Deputy Emmett to a dilapidated apartment complex where Arno lives. When a thug tries to block them, Lucas slams his head against the wall to make a point. They find Arno, who presents a severed hand, explaining it belonged to Hansen. He claims he used to work at Kai's slaughterhouse and saw Kai and Clay feeding Hansen's body parts to dogs. After they left, he recovered the hand and identified Hansen from a tattoo he had carved on it. Arno then shows Lucas a video of Kai and Clay dragging Hansen's body. Lucas brings the footage to District Attorney Gordon, who praises him but advises not to involve Dava again without permission. Armed with evidence, Lucas confronts Kai at his home and moves to arrest him for Hansen's murder. Clay tries to interfere, but Kai stops him and agrees to go with Lucas peacefully. On the way to the station, however, a truck slams into their vehicle, knocking it off a bridge. It's revealed that the Moody brothers orchestrated the crash, seeking revenge for Cole's death. They tie Kai's hands to a tree branch. Marcus, blaming Kai for Cole's broken teeth, wants to hurt him. But Dex Moody warns that harming Kai could start a war they can't win. As Marcus attacks Lucas, he fights back, smashing Marcus's head into Dex's and slicing off his ear. After subduing them, Lucas faces off with Dex, who aims a gun at him. Lucas gives him a choice: take his brothers and leave, or face jail or death. Deputy Emmett shows up with a gun on Dex, forcing the brothers to back off. With the threat handled, Lucas returns to the station and officially arrests Kai. Later that evening, Sugar expresses interest in joining Lucas's next scheme, wanting more than just bar work and breaking up fights. Lucas agrees, recognizing Sugar's value. On his way home, Lucas runs into Cat Moody. After sharing a cigarette, she warns him that her family will keep coming after him. When Lucas asks why she's at his place, she admits she doesn't know. Regardless, they end up spending the night together. In court, Kai pleads not guilty. Given his history of escaping convictions, the judge grants him bail. When Kai learns there's an eyewitness, he sends Clay to investigate. Outside the station, Lucas is surprised by the arrival of Job, who's in town to help with their next big plan. That night, Deputy Brock keeps watch over Arno at a motel. A knock at the door puts Brock on alert, but suddenly the wall explodes behind him. As he loses consciousness, he sees Arno being abducted. Meanwhile, the Kindred biker gang rides into town during the Spirit Festival. They try to intimidate Carrie, but she defends herself. Though she fights well, she's outnumbered. Sugar intervenes and knocks down two of them before getting hit from behind. As the bikers flee, Siobhan spots them and investigates. She finds Tally towering over Carrie and holds him at gunpoint. Carrie seizes the opportunity to grab Tally's pistol and eject the magazine. Tally refuses to retreat, so Siobhan shoots him. Another biker witnesses this, putting Siobhan on their radar. Police and medics arrive to treat Carrie and Sugar. Shaken by her first kill, Siobhan struggles to cope while her colleagues try to comfort her. Carrie finds support in her husband. Lucas asks Brock about the bikers, and Brock says they're likely gone. But the gang isn't finished, they vow to stay until Siobhan is dead. The next day, Siobhan spots a biker outside the station and rushes out to catch him, but he vanishes. She finds her tire slashed. That evening, the Spirit Festival begins peacefully, with townspeople enjoying food and music. But the joy ends abruptly when the bikers return and attack. Lucas tries to intervene but is overwhelmed. Rebecca unexpectedly stabs one of the gang, proving herself. Though Lucas gets hurt, the gang escapes. At a tense town hall, residents blame the police for not protecting them. Mayor Dan tries to calm the crowd. Kai offers to provide his own security, claiming innocence, but Lucas rejects him, saying the situation is under control. Amish elders pressure Rebecca to confess, but Lucas defends her, arguing her actions were self-defense. That night, Rebecca visits Lucas, and they spend the night together. Elsewhere, Siobhan becomes the target of a drive-by shooting. The bikers set her house ablaze. Lucas arrives to find her devastated and comforts her. Later, Kai contacts Lucas, saying he captured a gang member who revealed the location of the others. Lucas, understanding there's a price for the info, silently agrees. Armed with batons, Lucas storms the hideout alone, taking out the bikers one by one. Job helps him transport the unconscious gang members to Cleveland, where warrants await them. The next day, Siobhan receives a package containing the gang's rings. Meanwhile, FBI agent Dean Xavier arrives to investigate Kai. The FBI sees Kai as a possible linchpin in the Hansen murder case. But with Arno missing, Dean plans to stay in town. Trouble arises when he discovers Hansen's severed hand and the incriminating video are missing from evidence. It turns out Lucas traded them to Kai for the gang's location. Realizing deeper corruption may be unfolding, Dean requests permission to stay longer in Banshee. The next complication for Lucas appears in the form of Wicks, a former inmate who recognizes him. While Lucas is with Kat, Brock calls to say they've arrested a shoplifter named Wicks who claims to know the sheriff. Lucas hurries to the station but pretends not to recognize him. Flashbacks reveal that Rabbit had confronted Lucas in prison, vowing to make him suffer for turning Carrie against him. He had an inmate called the albino torment Lucas. Wicks, working in the prison infirmary, had helped Lucas survive and even revealed the albino's weakness. In the present, Lucas offers Wicks $2,500 and tells him to leave town. Wicks agrees, but ends up blowing all the money at a casino, getting into a fight, and winding up back in jail. Lucas lends a hand to Wicks by covering the cost of his meal, reminding him of the deal they had previously made. But Wicks, who has been homeless and living on the streets for 2 years, views this new situation as a chance to earn some money and finally settle into a more stable life. He now plans to remain in Banshee and threatens to expose Lucas's past if he's not allowed to stay. However, Lucas and Sugar have no intention of letting Wicks jeopardize their lives. Together, they plot to eliminate him and end up dumping his body into the depths of the lake. Meanwhile, in a desperate bid to set things right for her family, Carrie reaches out to Rabbit and offers to deliver Lucas to him. At the same time, Mayor Dan Kendall is still troubled, as his attempts to bring Kai to justice have proven fruitless. Elsewhere, Lucas and Sugar entertain the idea of robbing the local casino, which is owned by Benjamin Longshadow, the head of the Kinaho tribe. Just then, Lucas receives a phone call from Carrie, who claims she's found someone willing to fence their stolen diamonds. Job, however, warns Lucas not to trust her, saying she's no longer the same Carrie they once knew. But Lucas refuses to hear any criticism when it comes to Carrie. He meets her in a parking lot, where she suddenly injects him with a sedative. Having chosen to betray him, Carrie takes Lucas to a motel, cuffs him to a bedpost, places the diamonds on the table, and gags him before walking out, leaving him behind for Rabbit. Meanwhile, Deputy Emmett is seen buying a pregnancy test at a local drugstore when he witnesses two armed robbers holding up the cashier. The robbers grow anxious upon spotting Emmett, and one of them panics when the cashier appears to be reaching for something under the counter, shooting him dead. Emmett tries to calm them, but one of the thieves points his gun directly at Emmett's head. As the deputy begins to pray, the criminals flee the scene. Emmett radios in the incident and starts chasing the robbers, Lance and Nathan. As they run, the exhausted Lance grabs a schoolteacher, Janie Kendall, and takes her hostage, shooting Emmett in the arm. Unbeknownst to them, Janie is Mayor Dan Kendall's wife. The two robbers also take several students hostage, including Deva, who were in the school for Saturday detention. The police soon arrive, and the standoff attracts media attention. Back at the motel, Lucas struggles to free himself using a pen tip, but his attempts are futile. While still restrained, he sees a news report showing Deva inside the school, recorded by a student. Motivated by the urgency to protect her, Lucas frantically tries to escape before Rabbit arrives. When Rabbit finally gets to the motel room, he finds only the bloody handcuffs. It turns out Job reached Lucas in time and helped him escape. Meanwhile, in response to a deal, the robbers arrange a getaway car, agreeing to release 4 hostages. However, when Deva's friend refuses to leave without her, a fight breaks out. Deva kicks Lance and punches him in the face, and the two girls flee back into the school with Lance in pursuit. Lucas reaches the school entrance, and Carrie is stunned to see him alive. After Brock fills him in on the situation, Lucas insists on going in alone. Agent Dean tries to stop him, but Lucas refuses to listen. With hands raised, he approaches Nathan to talk, but quickly disarms him and fatally shoots him. The students and Janie take the opportunity to flee the building. However, Deva and her friend are still running from Lance. When Lance finds Deva, he sees Nathan's dead body and is visibly shaken. Lucas appears with a gun, and Lance grabs Deva, holding her hostage. Lucas signals Deva to duck, and when she does, he shoots Lance in the head and chest, killing him and rescuing Deva. While Lucas's heroics secure the safety of the hostages, things soon spiral when news broadcasts show both his and Carrie's faces. Now Rabbit knows where they are. Upstairs in the apartment, Lucas finds Carrie waiting for him. Though he initially draws his gun, Carrie instead embraces him. After 15 years, they reconnect emotionally and physically. The next morning, Carrie plans to leave, but Lucas pleads with her to stay. Carrie tells him that the woman he once knew no longer exists. When Lucas asks if Deva is his daughter, Carrie admits it and explains she married Gordon to give their child a stable life. She urges Lucas to leave Banshee forever, warning that if he refuses, she'll kill him herself. As Carrie heads to her car, she is ambushed by Oleg, who forces her into the trunk at gunpoint. Before he can get away, Lucas intercepts him, subdues Oleg and ties him to a post in his apartment. Lucas then reassures Carrie, promising to face Rabbit before anyone else gets hurt. Still afraid, Carrie believes Rabbit will stop at nothing to destroy them. Spotting Rebecca outside, Lucas intercepts her to prevent her from witnessing the chaos. Claiming he's busy, he offers her a ride to distract her. During the drive, Rebecca opens up about being disowned by her family for owning forbidden items like makeup and magazines. The conversation becomes intimate, and Rebecca kisses Lucas, an act secretly witnessed by Clay, Kai's right-hand man. Meanwhile, Oleg escapes from his restraints and attacks Carrie in a brutal fight. Both are highly skilled, exchanging lethal blows. As he attempts to drag her back to the car, Carrie pulls the weapon from her own body and retaliates, stabbing him back. They both collapse, badly wounded. Lucas arrives in time to find Carrie bleeding out and rushes her to the hospital for emergency surgery. When Gordon hears what happened, he storms into the hospital, blaming Lucas for Carrie's condition, claiming she's been different ever since Lucas returned. Lucas insists she was attacked outside his apartment, but Gordon is unconvinced. The doctor later confirms Carrie's surgery was successful and that she's in stable condition. Elsewhere, Kai confronts Rebecca over her involvement with Lucas, calling her disgraceful. Rebecca apologizes, saying Kai is all the family she has left. Meanwhile, Rabbit prepares for war after discovering Carrie and Lucas's location. He gathers his men and heads to Banshee. Kai, now joined by Rebecca as his new assistant, approaches Alex Longshadow, the new chief of the Kinaho tribe. Despite a previous deal with Alex's father, Benjamin, Alex wants to pursue the casino project independently. When Kai protests, Alex stands firm. To show he means business, Kai blows a whistle, immediately clearing the construction site. Back at the bar, Sugar and Job discreetly dispose of Oleg's body. Concerned for his friend's safety, Lucas urges them to stay away from him. Meanwhile, Carrie wakes up in the hospital and, despite Gordon's pleas, pulls out her .4 and insists on leaving, saying their children are in danger. Gordon wants answers, but Carrie insists there's no time for explanations. Once home, she takes the wheel and drives straight to Max's school. She races to his class but finds it empty. Looking out the window, she spots Max playing on the playground and breathes a sigh of relief, until she sees Rabbit approaching him. Frantically, she dashes outside, but by the time she arrives, Rabbit has already taken Max. The police get involved, and Agent Dean tells the deputies they now report directly to him until Max is found. With few options left, Lucas turns to Kai for help. But before he can ask, Kai questions his relationship with Rebecca. Lucas is shocked to learn that Rebecca is Kai's niece. When Lucas admits to their involvement, Kai is furious, leading to a violent confrontation. Though Kai initially has the upper hand, Lucas eventually wins the fight. After cooling off, Kai asks Lucas what he wants, and Lucas explains the situation. Kai reluctantly agrees to assist. Later, Rabbit confronts Lucas at the police station, stating this will be their final meeting. After Rabbit leaves, Lucas senses something is wrong and ducks just as Rabbit's men unleash a hail of bullets on the station. Lucas takes cover behind a car, but realizes he can't hold out long. Then, to his surprise, Kai appears and kills the gunman, telling Lucas that he now owes him. The next day, federal agents arrive at the scene, questioning Lucas, but he plays dumb. Determined to find Max, Lucas goes to Brock and resigns by handing over his sheriff badge. Job uses his hacking skills to trace Max's location, but CCTV footage only confirms that Rabbit's men entered the town and haven't left, meaning they're still hiding. Carrie, now recovered, joins Job and Sugar, forming a team to save Max. Meanwhile, Lucas calls Rabbit and offers to surrender himself in exchange for Carrie and her family's safety. Rabbit accepts the deal. During the exchange, Max is returned, but Lucas is knocked out and taken away. Sugar and Job try to track him down. At the bar, Gordon informs Carrie that Max is home safe. She quickly deduces that Lucas must have traded himself for Max. Job locates Lucas's phone at an abandoned metal works facility. The team gears up for a rescue. On the way, they run into Brock, and Carrie finally reveals what happened. Recognizing Lucas as one of their own, Brock joins the mission. Inside the metalworks, Rabbit begins torturing Lucas. As the team approaches, Carrie sneaks in from another entrance to create a distraction. A fierce shootout erupts. Though the team suffers injuries, Carrie turns the tide of battle. Suddenly, Rabbit's men appear with a rocket launcher. Despite being hurt, Brock manages to shoot the attacker, causing the rocket to detonate among Rabbit's men. Hearing the explosion, Rabbit attempts to kill Lucas by slitting his throat. But before he can, Carrie storms in and distracts the guards. Lucas overpowers one, and Carrie finishes him off. Turning her gun on her father, Rabbit begs her to stop, claiming he forgave her and spared her family. But Carrie coldly tells him she never forgave him and shoots him twice, killing him. With Rabbit dead, law enforcement swarms the site, but Agent Dean finds no trace of Rabbit's people, only a photo of Rabbit and Carrie. Meanwhile, Gordon, heartbroken by Carrie choosing Lucas, decides to leave town with his children. Mayor Dan Kendall sits solemnly at the casino construction site and calls his wife. Outside, Kai and Rebecca arrive. Kai tells her he doesn't intend to kill Alex but wants to make a statement. He hands Rebecca a phone and tells her to call a number. When she does, a bomb inside the site explodes, killing the mayor. At the same time, the police uncover the remains of the real Lucas Hood and two thugs Sugar had buried.